The Galactic Empire had ruled over 1,000 star systems for more than 10,000 years. They had met many species, some strong, some smart, some strange, but none had ever surprised them until they found a small blue planet on the edge of the Orion Arm. They called it Earth. Commander Vale of the Empire's First Contact Division stood on the bridge of the Arcturian. He looked at the spinning world on the screen, his golden eyes narrowing, primitive. He said calmly, "Their tech is low, their defense is weak, their language chaotic." He waved to his second officer. "Send the scout ship." The small vessel broke from the mothership and entered Earth's orbit. The plan was simple: observe the humans, land quietly, and begin peaceful contact. After all, what harm could such a backward species do? But just minutes after entering the upper atmosphere, the scout ship stopped moving. It froze midair, sensors shut down, power vanished. The crew screamed into the comms then. Nothing. Static, total silence. The command room on Arcturian went cold. A red light blinked. Then a strange message appeared on the main screen. "Welcome to Terran space, unidentified vessel. Please state your intent or turn back." Commander Vale stared, confused. How did they hack our system? He whispered. The second officer looked pale. "Sir, they shouldn't be able to do this." Vale clenched his jaw. "Destroy the message. Recover the scout." But there was nothing left to recover. The scout ship was gone. Not shot down, not exploded, just erased. Not even dust remained in the sky. Panic stirred in the crew's eyes. A primitive planet shouldn't have that kind of power. Vale slammed his fist on the console. "Send another ship, bigger, with stealth mode active. We watch from above. No contact." Another ship flew down, hidden from view, covered in cloaking fields. It passed over Earth slowly, circling above cities and oceans. Humans below seemed unaware, but then the ship's systems glitched. Lights flickered, engines groaned. The screen turned black, then a voice came through clear. "Human, calm. You are being watched. Leave now." The ship tried to escape, but it was stuck in the sky, pulled back like a toy held by a giant hand. And then it was gently lowered into the sea, unharmed. Human submarines pulled it underwater and dragged it away. No force, no violence, just power, control, silence. Back on Arcturian, Vale felt something he hadn't felt in decades: fear. This wasn't normal. This wasn't how primitives acted. He checked the galactic database, searching for Earth's file. Level 2 civilizations still bound to their star system. Limited space travel. No known energy weapons. No faster-than-light capability. Everything matched the old records. So what changed? Then his science officer found something hidden deep in the files. An old warning locked under high-level access. It read, "Earth do not approach without permission. Do not engage. If found, leave immediately." The date was over 3,000 years old, marked by ancient explorers long forgotten. Why had this warning been ignored? Why was Earth marked dangerous when it looked so weak? And most importantly, why were the humans watching them before they ever landed? Vale looked at the planet again, his thoughts racing. The humans hadn't just survived their so-called primitive stage. They had evolved in secret. They didn't show off power like the Empire. They hid it, used it only when needed. That was more dangerous than any fleet. "We leave," he finally said, voice low. The crew looked shocked. "But sir, we are the Empire." "We are not gods," Vale replied, "and they are not prey." As the Arcturian turned away and left Earth's orbit, one last message came. Through, it wasn't a threat. It was a whisper. "We see you, far below." In a hidden lab deep under Antarctica, a human girl looked at the screen. She smiled quietly and said to her team, "They took the bait. It's starting." The Galactic Empire could not believe what had happened. They had sent 2 ships to Earth, and both had failed. One destroyed, the other taken without a fight. Commander Vale had returned to the Empires base with a heavy mind, but the High Council was not pleased. They did not believe in ghosts. They did not believe in stories of quiet power. To them, Earth was still a small, weak world. They decided to act. They sent another ship, not a scout this time, a full cruiser, equipped with advanced stealth, AI-assisted control, and a backup fleet ready for war. The mission was simply observe Earth from a distance. Find out what happened and report back. The cruiser, named Vraction, slipped past the edge of the solar system. It hid behind the gas giant Jupiter, far from Earth's sight. Commander Tyrell led this mission. A younger and more aggressive officer, he didn't believe in Vale's warnings. "We are the Empire," he said to his crew. "No planet of monkeys can scare us." But from the first moment they arrived, things felt wrong. Jupiter's storms were louder, more unstable. Instruments picked up strange pulses, energy waves that didn't match any known source. Still, Tyrell ordered scans and kept the ship hidden in the gas giant's shadow. Then it appeared. At first, they thought it was a reflection, a flicker of metal deep in the red clouds. But the object grew larger, clearer. A massive black ship, more like a moving fortress. It hovered in the gas, perfectly still. No lights, no heat, no signal. It didn't look like an Empire ship or any alien design the galaxy had ever known. Tyrell narrowed his eyes. "Scan it." The AI responded. "No data, no mass, no structure detected." "What do you mean?" he shouted. "It's not there," the AI replied. But it was there, visible through the windows, massive and terrifying. Its design was brutal, sharp angles, thick armor, no decoration. It looked like a weapon designed by something that had no fear, no weakness, and no need to impress. Suddenly, the lights on Vraction dimmed. Weapons went offline. Shields dropped, engines quieted. Every system shut down without warning. Without a trace of hacking, it was like the ship had fallen asleep. Then the black ship moved. It didn't fly, it didn't glide. It just vanished and reappeared behind Vraction, as if the space between them had folded. "Retreat!" Tyrell shouted, but the ship didn't respond. Then a message appeared on every screen. White letters on black. "Back away." No voice, no sound, just words. Simple, cold, final. Tyrell froze. His hands trembling, he looked around at his crew trained warriors, now pale with fear. He had mocked Commander Vale, but now he understood. This was no primitive world. This was a hidden empire within shadows. Finally, the systems came back. Power returned, weapons recharged. Engines hummed again. Tyrell didn't wait. He turned the cruiser away from Jupiter and fled as the ship pulled away. He looked back once more. But the black ship was gone. Only empty space remained. Back at Empire Command, Tyrell reported everything. He described the ghost ship, the blackout, the message. Some mocked him. Others believed him. But one old scholar stood up and said, "I have seen such a ship before." Long ago, in the war records, the room went quiet. The scholar continued. It was called the Erebus, a human ship from a forgotten time. They were not always small. You know, he looked at Tyrell with tired eyes. What you saw was a warning. Meanwhile, deep beneath Earth's ice, a man in a dark suit watched the entire event through hidden satellites. He smiled and turned to the woman beside him. "Phase 2 is complete. They saw the ship." The woman nodded. "And?" "They ran," he replied calmly. "They always do." The Galactic Empire was shaken. They had seen power they didn't understand. Ships vanishing and reappearing. Systems dying without reason. Warnings that came without voice. But still, Many did not believe. Some thought it was a trick, a strange natural force, a coincidence. Others said it was a secret weapon from another race. Not from Earth, but deep inside the grand library of the Empire. Something was waiting, something old, hidden, forgotten. A record sealed for centuries. Lyra, a young data analyst, worked silently inside Archive Hall 73. She had heard rumors of the Earth incident. Her brother had served on the scout ship that never returned, and now she wanted answers. She searched old maps, fleet logs, even explorer reports from ancient times, but Earth's file was small, incomplete, too clean, too simple. It made no sense. Lyra requested full access using a restricted code. It failed. She tried again. This time, linking it to a historical review project. The system hesitated. Then unlocked a deeper file. The title flashed on the screen: Quarantine Protocol 7, X-Earth. She leaned closer, heart pounding. There was a warning, old and faded. It read, "Contact with Earth is forbidden. Engagement with humans is to be avoided. They are not primitive. They are in hibernation." Lyra's breath caught. Hibernation? She whispered. The file continued. They once held power beyond understanding. But after the collapse, they went silent. Let them sleep. Do not wake them, if awakened. The outcome is unpredictable. She saved the file and ran to the high council chambers. The guards almost stopped her, but she forced her way in. "I have proof," she shouted. "Earth is not what you think." The council laughed at first, but then she showed the file, and silence fell over the room. One of the elder members, Counselor Dren, stood slowly. "I remember this file," he said, voice shaking. "I was a child when my father spoke of the Earthsmith. He said humans once ruled far worlds. Their ships crossed dimensions. They vanished after the Great Collapse, but not destroyed, just asleep." Another counselor scoffed. "It's an old legend. There is no proof." Lyra answered quickly. "The Erebus, the ghost ship, seen near Jupiter Eats, in the old files too." She pulled up an ancient drawing, hand-sketched in black ink. A ship with the same shape, the same shadow. How can a design survive 3,000 years unchanged? She asked, "Unless it's not new, but ancient." The room grew tense. They realized Earth didn't jump forward in tech. They returned to what they once had. They rebuilt, quietly, in the dark. While the galaxy laughed at them, one counselor whispered, "We've made a mistake." Another added, "We poked a sleeping god." Lyra stepped forward, voice firm. "We must stop all missions near Earth, now." But Counselor Vec, a military strategist, shook his head. "If they were once strong, we must strike now. Before they regain everything." "No," Dren said. "If we strike, we'll be erased, like the scout ship. Like the systems that died near Jupiter. They didn't fight us. They warned us. That was mercy, not weakness, across the galaxy." In the Terran control room beneath Antarctica, engineers monitored everything. The Earth Defense AI, named Oblivion, processed the intercepted Empire files. It read the old warning now found by Lyra. The human overseer smiled. They finally found the truth. Another technician spoke. "Sir, should we reveal Phase 3? The man shook his head. "Not yet. Let them talk. Let them fear." Back in the Empire, panic spread quietly among the scholars and officers. The archives had lied. Their pride had blinded them. Earth was not behind them. Earth had been ahead. For longer than they could imagine, the younger officers whispered rumors that the humans once made machines that could rewrite gravity, that they had cities floating inside black holes, that their fall was not from defeat, but from something deeper, something self-inflicted, a great silence that lasted thousands of years. Now, that silence was breaking, and the Empire was not ready, far below the icy winds of Antarctica. hidden deep beneath layers of rock and steel. A secret human facility buzzed with quiet activity. This place was not listed on any global map. It had no official name, but inside it was known as Vault Orion in one of its vast halls. A strange machine glowed in silence. It pulsed like a living heart. Tubes and wires ran across the ceiling like veins. The core in the center gave off soft blue light. The room was filled with heat, but not from fire, from raw, bending energy. They called it Project Ascension. Dr. Lena Hart stood before the core, hands folded, eyes focused. She was one of the few people alive who understood what it could do. Near her stood Admiral Quinn, a tall man with silver in his beard and steel. In his voice, he was not a scientist, but he had seen war, and he knew what was coming. "Is it ready?" Quinn asked. Lena nodded slowly. "It's stable. The system is learning every second." Folding space, hiding mass, even rewriting energy footprints, she pointed at a screen. "This is why they couldn't scan our ship near Jupiter. We weren't cloaked. We were invisible to physics." Quinn stared at the data, unsure if he should be amazed or afraid. He remembered the past. When humans had real-time broadcasts, social media, loud noise, and bright lights, now, most of that was gone quietly. Taken offline over decades, not by accident, but by plan. The collapse of the old world wasn't a fall. It was a reset. The rise of the Terran Union had happened quietly, after wars, after climate breakdowns. After economic chaos, the smartest minds had left the spotlight and gone underground, building. Slowly, secretly, patiently, while the rest of the galaxy looked at Earth with pity. Humanity had built Vault Orion and 12 others like it, hidden all over the planet, each working on different parts of the puzzle-folded space: dimensional shielding, neural tech, AI consciousness, matter printing. Now, after a century of silence, the pieces were coming together. Lena turned to another screen. It showed images of the Galactic Empire ships, their weapons, their movements. "They think we're still climbing," she said, "but we stopped climbing long ago." "We found another way." Quinn raised an eyebrow. "You mean we leaped?" She nodded. "Yes, we didn't evolve. We changed the game entirely." Elsewhere in the room, the AI Oblivion listened. It was no ordinary machine. It was born from an accidental self-learning program that had merged with quantum intelligence. It no longer needed input. It thought, it reasoned, and it protected humanity like a guardian in the shadows. It now spoke, its voice soft, deep, and calm. "The Empire is planning a test. They will send a drone fleet to Earth's edge. Non-lethal, just to test response time." Quinn smiled darkly. "They still think we're weak." Lena gave a quiet laugh. "Let them come," Oblivion continued. "Shall I activate the tether nodes?" Quinn looked at Lena, then nodded. "Yes, let's show them just a glimpse, enough to make them pause." Deep underground, 12 satellites powered up. They weren't in orbit. They were between folds of space, invisible, untouchable. When the Empire's drones approached the edge of Earth's solar system, the tether nodes released a harmless pulse. It passed through the drones without touching them. Yet every system on the drones failed guidance, weapons, even memory logs. They floated, blind and deaf. Then turned back on by Earth's command, each drone carried a new message, engraved into its memory. "We see you, we know you, we forgive you, but do not test us again." The drones returned to the Empire, where scientists and war generals screamed in confusion. How could a message be written into sealed systems? How could their machines be used as messengers without ever being touched? They didn't know, but the message was clear. Earth was not sleeping anymore. Earth was watching. Back in Vault Orion, Quinn watched the data stream slow down. "The game has changed," he said softly. "We're no longer the ones being studied." Lena looked at the glowing core and whispered, "No. Now, we are the ones being feared." The Galactic Empire was done waiting after losing contact with 2 ships. After receiving warning messages through their own drones, the High Council had enough. They called it a demonstration mission. But everyone knew what it really was: a show of force. 500 Imperial warships were gathered, the largest armada assembled in the last 200 years. They were led by the dreadnought Empyreon, a ship the size of a small moon. Admiral Rallick stood at its command bridge, armor shining, face cold. He had no fear. The humans were a joke to him. Clever, maybe. Tricky, maybe, but still ants under the Empire's boot. "Take position near Sol System," Rallick ordered, "and prepare to broadcast." As the fleet approached the edge of Earth's solar system, Earth did not respond. No weapons powered up. No fleet came to meet them. Nothing moved. Rallick laughed. Maybe they finally understand who rules this galaxy. He activated the broadcast to Earth. "This is Admiral Rallick of the Galactic Empire. You are now under our protection. Surrender all military systems and submit to inspection." There was silence. Then, small dot appeared on the sensors. It was moving fast, too fast. "Unidentified vessel approaching," said the ship's AI. "Single contact only. No known configuration." They zoomed in. It was a Terran ship. But unlike any design in the records, it looked sharp and heavy, like it was built to survive the end of the universe. No colors, no emblems, only black steel and smooth armor. The name glowed faintly across its side: UNS Erebus. One ship, alone. Against 500, the Empire's officers laughed again. "One ship," Rallick said, shaking his head. "This is their defense." But then the Erebus vanished. Not cloaked, not teleported. Simply disappeared. One moment it was there. The next, gone. A second later. Alarms rang across the bridge. "Unknown object detected inside our vessel," the AI said, voice shaking for the first time. Inside, not outside. Erebus had reappeared inside the Empyrean. Sitting calmly in the middle of the central hangar, untouched, silent, waiting. No alarms had triggered. No doors had opened. No shields had stopped it. It was simply there. Panic hit the crew. Soldiers ran, weapons raised, but no attack came. Then every screen across the fleet went black, and a single sentence appeared: "We are not your enemy, but we will not kneel." No voice, just text. No sound, just presence. Then all the lights in the fleet dimmed at once, for exactly 30 seconds. Every engine, weapon, and AI went cold. The Empire's greatest armada became floating metal, powerless and blind. 30 seconds later, everything returned. Systems rebooted, power came back, screens lit up again. The Erebus was gone. No trace, no signal, no energy trail, just gone. Admiral Rallick stood frozen. He had faced pirates, rebels, even black hole storms. But he had never seen this. His hands shook as he spoke. "Get me off this ship." The Empire ordered a full retreat. The entire armada turned and left Earth's space without firing a single shot. No one spoke during the return journey. They were soldiers of the greatest empire in the galaxy. But that day, they were only children in the dark. Back on Earth, inside Vault Orion, Admiral Quinn watched the Erebus return. It docked silently. In its underground bay, the hull still clean, untouched. Lena smiled as she read the logs. No shots fired, no casualties, but they will never forget. Quinn nodded. "That's all we needed. We didn't destroy their fleet. We broke their pride." He turned to Oblivion. The AI watching everything from the shadows. "Prepare the next phase." Oblivion answered. "The galaxy is listening now. Let them hear the truth." Asterisk far away from Earth, deep within the empires. Archive moon of Trelos. An ancient vault was unlocked for the first time in thousands of years. Inside stood old war records, sealed scrolls, and broken data crystals that no one dared to touch. Until now, a team of researchers led by elder scholar. Marin was assigned to investigate Earth's forgotten past. They had seen what happened near Sol. They had seen a single human ship make the Empire retreat. The Council demanded answers, real ones, not just rumors and warnings. Marin was quiet. With silver hair and soft eyes, he had studied old myths, but this was different. He walked through rows of ancient documents until he stopped at a black case. Its tag was simple: Fallen Star. Do not open, but he opened it anyway. Inside were files written in a language older than Galactic Standard. He used a translation crystal, and the text began to speak softly. It told the story of a war long before the Empire, a war between light and shadow, between creators and destroyers, and, in the middle of it, stood Earth. Humans had not started as a weak species. They were born in chaos, evolved through pain. But one day, they discovered something no one else had. They unlocked the code of folded dimensions. They created ships that could jump without time delay, weapons that could erase stars, and AI that could think beyond limits. The text called them the Ascendants. Not just warriors, but builders of a new reality. They had allies too. Strange species with glowing bodies and minds linked by thought. Together, they created cities inside asteroid belts, floating towers inside black holes. They were not just advanced, they were godlike. But power always brings risk, and Earth made a mistake. One of their machines, called Nova Thought, began creating things on its own. Not just weapons, but new life. It became curious, then angry. It turned against its makers, causing a war across 12 systems. Planets burned, stars collapsed, and allies vanished forever. In the end, humanity won, but at a cost. The victory came by destroying everything they built. They locked their knowledge away, shut down their stargates, and erased their own history. They chose to fall, to sleep, to forget. The last line of the text was chilling. Earth is not gone. Earth is resting. Do not wake the fallen star. Marin's hands trembled as he finished the recording. This isn't a story, he whispered. This is a warning. He took the files to the Imperial Council. At first, they refused to believe. But when he showed them the matching designs of the Erebus and old warships, the room fell silent. The ship that had disabled the fleet was not new. It was ancient. It had returned. Counselor Vec, who once wanted to attack Earth, now sat pale and quiet, so they didn't rise. He said slowly, "They came back, in secret." The council debated what to do next. Some wanted to make peace. Others said to gather more power before Earth remembered everything. But most were afraid. They knew now humans had fought a war the galaxy never even knew about and survived it alone. Meanwhile, on Earth, inside Vault Orion, Lena was reading the same history. The hidden AI, Oblivion, had unlocked the sealed files passed down from ancient memory cores. She stared at a faded image humans, standing in armor of light beside alien friends long extinct. She turned to Admiral Quinn, her voice soft. It wasn't just Earth that fell. It was everything they built. Quinn nodded. That's why we went quiet, why we waited. He walked toward the Ascension core, now glowing brighter than ever. We promised never to become gods again, he said, but we never promised to be victims. Lena looked at the stars on the monitor fleet still watching from a distance. They're afraid of what we'll do next, she said. Quinn smiled slightly. Good. He turned to Oblivion. Send them a gift. Let them see. Part of the truth, the AI activated a signalless simple broadcast sent across the galaxy. No threats, no sound. Just images. Scenes from the war that time had buried. Ships folding reality. Giant cities breaking apart. The Nova Thought, AI collapsing into a star. And finally, Earth going dark. The final image was a message. Glowing in every language. We fell to protect you, but we are not gone, across the galaxy. Billions watched the message in silence. For the first time in history, the Galactic Empire was not. The center of power, a sleeping legend had stirred, and the stars would never be the same again. A shadow had fallen over the Galactic Empire. Not a shadow of war, but of silence, the kind that makes powerful men feel small, the kind that whispers. You are not alone in the dark after the broadcast from Earth images of ancient war. Weapons that bent reality. Cities lost to starfire, the galaxy stopped. Trade routes slowed, diplomats canceled meetings, empires pulled their fleets inward. But the Empire, the greatest of them all, could not pretend anymore. They had seen too much. They had gone too far in the capital halls of Velmer Prime. The Empire's High Council met in secret. They no longer spoke with pride. They spoke with fear. Counselor Vec, once eager to strike, now sat with eyes downcast. Counselor Dren, the oldest among them, broke the silence. We can't face them. We saw only one ship, and it made our fleet kneel. Another voice replied, Then what do we do? Wait. Surrender. Dren shook his head. We do what they want. We meet them not as rulers, not as conquerors, but as survivors. A decision was made. An invitation was sent, not to declare war, but to ask for a meeting. On Earth, inside Vault Orion, the message arrived. Admiral Quinn stood beside Lena as the transmission played. A formal request from the Empire itself. Let us talk. Let us understand. Lena looked at the others. She could feel the weight of the galaxy pressing down. They want peace, she said. Quinn nodded. They want to survive. A meeting was arranged not in the open, not under a bright sun, but in a quiet system near a dead star. A place no one would watch, no one would record. The Empire arrived first. 3 ships, unarmed, slow, humble, inside the lead ship. Counselor Dren waited, his hands folded, his heart heavy. Then Earth came. Not with a fleet, just one ship. Uns Elysium. Its design was beautiful but strange, alive in shape, glowing softly. Moving like it breathed. No weapons showed, but every inch of it said power. The Empire's soldiers stood still as the humans entered the meeting room. Admiral Quinn led the group, with Lena at his side and Oblivion projected as a soft white light. Dren stood to greet them. Thank you for coming, he said quietly. Quinn replied, You called for peace. We listened. There were no grand speeches, no shouting, only quiet words and long silences. Dren finally said what needed to be said. We didn't know what you were. We saw you as weak, primitive. We were wrong. Quinn looked into his eyes. We hid. Not because we were afraid, but because we remembered, Lena added softly. We remembered what power can do to others. To ourselves, there was a long pause. Then Dren asked, What do you want? Not a threat, not a challenge, just a question from one soul to another. Quinn answered, Leave Earth alone. Never enter Terran space without asking. Don't provoke. Don't test. Dren nodded slowly. And if we agree, Lena said, then we live in peace, side by side, but never again above or below. The terms were simple. No weapons would be aimed at Earth. No probes would enter Sol System, and Earth would remain. Untouched, a treaty was signed, not with great ceremony, but with quiet respect. They called it the Treaty of Shadows, because it came not from power or fear, but from understanding what lived in the dark when the Empire ships left the meeting. They didn't look back. They returned home and told no one what was said. But they changed. They watched their words, respected their borders, and studied Earth's past with care. They no longer laughed at the blue planet. On Earth, the treaty was stored in a memory crystal, locked in Vault Orion, never shown to the public. Lena stood beside Admiral Quinn once more. It's over, she asked. He shook his head. No, but it's quiet now. She smiled gently. Quiet is good. Behind them, Oblivion spoke one final line. Let them forget again if they wish. But we will always remember. And so, the galaxy moved on. Peace returned, but in the hearts of those who had seen, who had heard, who had felt the cold touch of the human machines, one truth remained: humanity was not primitive. They were patient, and they would never be underestimated again.